Our fight against illegal mining in this country has been rather ad hoc, and it actually has relied mostly on the use of force without any incentives to miners to want to formalize their activities and subject themselves to proper regulation. In fact, I've heard from miners, small-scale miners, time and again, that anytime there's a raid on mines, the security agencies do not make a distinction between legal and illegal miners. They all get arrested and treated in the same way. And so some of them ask the question, what is in it for them to want to formalize their activities? What is the benefit to them? Because whenever there is any security raid, there's no distinction about who is doing illegal and who is doing legal mining. I think time has come for us to combine some incentives with the, the enforcement of law. And the way to do this will be, and I think that is what the Gold Board is seeking to do, by supplanting the role played by many foreign financiers who will lend money and equipment to our small-scale miners in exchange for the gold they produce. I think now that is going to be performed somehow through the Gold Board arrangement, where there will be equipment support and also financial or credit support to Ghanaian small-scale miners, with the understanding that whatever they produce, they sell to the Gold Board to defray the cost of the support. And I think once we do that, there's a way in which we'll be able to limit smuggling. There's a way in which we'll be able to encourage many small-scale miners who currently are operating illegally to want to formalize their activities in exchange for the support that may become available under the Gold Board arrangement. I would say we have some shortcomings. Shortcomings because we went into an era where we registered or issued a record number of small-scale licenses, in which instance our ability to regulate and enforce the rules was outpaced by the rate at which we're issuing licenses. So you go to a place like the Savannah region and there is no single Minerals Commission office in that region. The nearest is in Upper West region, overseeing both Upper West and Savannah. And if you look at the geographical expanse, then of course it doesn't come as a surprise that we are unable to enforce compliance effectively. But having said that, I would also need to observe that the Minerals Commission is doing whatever it can to catch up. So as we speak, there is a new Minerals Commission office in Bole, which I believe will soon be commissioned. And there are several others in other parts of the country where mining is taking place. In fact, we need to decentralize the regulatory framework to the towns and villages where the mining is taking place to improve on the efficiency of compliance monitoring. And that way we'll be able to ensure that the will to actually regulate is high and effective. I think the narrative around the repeal of the LI that permits mining in forest reserves has changed. And I've heard assurances from government that when Parliament reconvenes, they are going to bring a bill to Parliament to repeal it. So I think that's where we are now, and we'll take the President and his ministers by their word. We should have done this yesterday. We left the doors of the gold sector open, ajar, and everybody just walked in, picked whatever they wanted, and took it out. Look, small-scale mining in this country contributes 40% of our total gold production, but its contribution to the sector's revenue is less than 1%. So the bulk of the benefits we get from gold mining in this country comes from large-scale mining. Time has come for the small-scale mining to also contribute. And I think the Gold Board arrangement is one that will ensure that Ghana gets benefits from small-scale mining. I will say enough of the talking. We should begin to use evidence-based research to shape national policies around the gold sector. So if the Gold Board bill, at the time when it became public, I would expect academic institutions like UNER to take the bill, analyze it, and make input into the bill. You can also, there are a number of other complementary instruments that are being developed. Okay, the aggregator selection criteria, the gold buyer selection criteria, the application forms and all that. For instance, as an individual working for the UK Ghana Gold Program, we took it and did an analysis from the perspective of its compliance with the Financial Action Task Force regulations and made input into the bill and then also into the various instruments that have been developed. And I'm happy to note that the Gold Board was very open and accepted this input and has factored them into the instruments in question. So let academic and research institutions stop holding conferences of this nature and rather come out to interrogate the various instruments, policies, and laws that we have and make input into how we strengthen them. They should also be monitoring their implementation and identifying implementation challenges and making proposals for strengthening implementation as well.